This is Alex Del Sordo at another Rower's Choice podcast, but this one's a little bit different. This one, I'm doing a Zoom interview. Now, I think if you know me well, I'm not technically savvy, so this is something new to us. There's a video aspect to it, but I have a really cool guest that I know nothing about, and today we're going to learn a little bit about her and her experience in rowing. But this is Becca Kimball, and she is the head coach of Indianapolis Rowing Center. And in this amazing erg competition that we put together, we've gotten one athlete that stood out among the rest, and her name is Paris. And we come to find that she is a freshman pulling a 7:30, I think it was, for the 21-12 meters. So Becca, welcome to our first ever podcast / video Zoom interview. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Becca, as I said earlier here, I know nothing about you. Can you please, what I like to do is I like to start with, where did you start rowing, and why do you continue to row, and how did you get to where you are today running Indianapolis Rowing Center?
Yeah, so I did not row in high school. I was actually a basketball player, and I went to Wellesley College, which is just outside of Boston, to play basketball. The novice rowing coach there always came to our games, painted himself in blue because our mascot was blue. And he kept trying to get me to try rowing. So in the spring of my freshman year at Wellesley, I decided to try it. Found myself to be pretty competitive. And
what does that mean, competitive? So you're a basketball player, so that means naturally you're just a better athlete than probably 90% of the kids that row. So like, what does that mean to you? Like, what does competitive look like?
I guess I was pretty tall and strong, so I was able to perform well in the erg.
What was your 2K? What was your 2K piece?
My first one was that I pulled, I think, so the first practice we had was a 2K. I'd never touched an erg before.
What?
Yeah, I think I maybe pulled a 7:45.
Okay. All right, I want to take a step back here. That's so typically you take a minute. There's a minute difference between men and women, right? So my first ever was it was like an 8:03. So that's equivalent to a 9-minute 2K for women. So you crushed it. That's amazing. So your first ever was that fast. Impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It was pretty cool. I was not that fast on the water. I can tell you that. It took me a couple of years to get the hang of the technique. But I loved the sport. I instantly fell in love with my teammates, my coaches. Tessa Spillane was my head coach at Wellesley, and best coach ever. My teammates were amazing, just pushing each other every day. And I mean, I've just been an athlete my entire life, but there's something special about rowing. It really taught me how to work together on a team, how to exercise leadership, persevere.
So that's interesting. So explain the difference between basketball then, because I mean, that is a team sport, right? I mean, so why would you say that basketball or rowing was just a little bit better of a team sport and taught you more than basketball?
So the thing about rowing is you have to completely surrender your individual pride when you enter a boat, and you give yourself up to your teammates. There's no such thing as a successful rower. There's only a successful crew. And you are enduring pain, showing integrity, passion, doing things your body is telling you it can't, all with your teammates. So it's something special.
You sound like a really good coach. That is a perfect, I love that. I circled that, surrender individual pride in rowing. I think that translates in almost anything in life, really. I mean, if you have a family, if you have, even in here in a business setting, you have to surrender yourself to the team. So you rowed in college. What happens next? Like where do you go from there at that point in your rowing career?
So I did train with the U23 national team for a bit. I did the pre-elite program for a summer. And
what year was that?
That was in 2013.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I kept training for a bit after college. I went to grad school at Ohio State right after college. Would have loved to have NCAA eligibility, but I didn't. And then I just kind of, I decided not to pursue a farther career in rowing. I decided to focus on my professional career. And I moved.
And what is that? What is your professional career?
So I'm director of patient financial navigation at IU Health, which is a 17 hospital system through the state of Indiana.
Well, I have a whole lot of questions for you about COVID-19, so we'll do that in a little bit here. So wow. So you did 5 years of rowing. Is that it? Just 5 quick years?
Yeah, well, I mean, I rowed with like some master's programs as well. I rowed community rowing in Boston. I'm from Boston.
From Boston, okay.
Yeah, and then I actually took a few years off when I first moved to Indiana. And then I joined up with the masters at Indianapolis Rowing Center last spring, so about a year ago, and kind of was in and out, and then started volunteering as a coach over the summer last year for the juniors, and then started full-time in the fall as varsity girls head coach, and then this winter I became the head coach of the whole program. So
why rowing coaching? Like what? You know, you're a director at IU Health. I mean, so you're obviously a very busy individual, and coaching, as we all know, is 80 hours a week. You know, let's be real; it's a very challenging job. Why coaching? What got you into that?
So I coached basketball, a JV basketball team at my old high school, actually, and I just knew I loved coaching. And I mean, it's the kids. They are unbelievable. Seeing their growth, when they hit a new PR, how excited they are, just seeing them push each other every day. There's nothing like it. It's the best part of my day every day.
I love that. Now, what is it like, the difference of coaching JV basketball 15-year-olds and coaching JV 15-year-old rowers? Is there a big difference?
There's not a big difference in terms of what the kids are like and what they want to accomplish. Yeah. But the sport itself is really different. So for rowing, I mean, you have to be mentally tough and be able to push yourself through pain in a different way than basketball. Basketball's a game. It's fun. I love basketball. I would go out and play basketball all day, every day. But rowing, there's like something deeper in it. It's not necessarily always fun, for sure. But yeah.
Wow. So I like that you said it was a game, because it is. I mean, basketball is a game. Rowing is slightly different. So you're 1 full year into coaching. Is that right?
About, yeah.
Yeah. So how big is your team? Like who do you have on your program?
Yeah. So I have about 74 kids, divided into, varsity girls, varsity boys, novice girls, and novice boys.
You are program director. You are running the show.
Of the juniors. Yep. And then I specifically coach in the spring and fall, I coach the varsity girls. Over the winter, I coach it all. I have 6 amazing coaches who I get to work with for each program. So they're great. And a lot of them have been here for so many years, tons of rowing experience. So,
it's very rare to find someone so, I'm going to say young, I consider you young, to be the head of a program. I don't know how that doesn't happen very often. That's really impressive. Was it an obvious thing that, like, because of your leadership skills and your ability, or was it a long process like that got you to the head coach position?
It was not a long process. It was things just happened by chance.
Wow.
The head coach that was here moved, and so they needed someone, and
you raised your hand and you said, I'm in.
That's basically what happened.
Wow. Okay. So then you have a full-time job elsewhere. So you have to be a busy person. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yes, I am very busy. I also play on like 8 flag football teams. So
I'm exhausted thinking about your life right now. Okay. Like, I'm tired. Well, let's I want to transition into COVID-19. So I didn't write down your entire title at IU Health, but what can you tell me of your experience of what's happening with COVID-19 in our world right now in the United States?
Yeah, so I am actually managing the statewide medical supply donations for IU
Okay.
Health. So
Wow.
it's extremely, extremely crazy here. It is a very, very serious thing, and people need to be taking it seriously, social distancing. I mean, just in Indiana today, we jumped from like 2,500 cases to over 3,000. We had 13 more deaths yesterday. So it's, I mean, our healthcare workers on the front lines are incredible. So
What what advice aside from washing hands can you give rowers and people that are at home training and working out? I mean, is there anything that you can give advice to?
I mean, I would say washing your hands, cleaning your equipment, not sharing equipment. Hopefully everyone's kind of just in their house. I mean, I do recommend getting fresh air, going on runs outside. That has been keeping me sane. But very careful to kind of go around on the sidewalk 6 feet between someone if they're walking. And just but really continuing to work out, because mentally that's so important during this time. I
Is
know
that going to affect? So I read articles all the time about this stuff. Does working out help you in this, your immune system and things like that, or is that just not tested right now?
Yeah, that's not a big part of it. I mean, there are people who have immunodeficiency disorders and who have asthma are definitely more susceptible to coronavirus,
Yeah.
but healthy people are getting it too, and that's what's scary. Um, so
So, so for you, how have you kept yourself sane in all of this? Like as a coach with 74 kids out there and a job, give someone some advice other than reading an article on Apple News. Like, what have you done for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I have Zoom practices with my kids. Seeing their faces always makes me happy. I have my family. So my parents are in Boston. My brother's in San Francisco. We have Zoom family dinners together. We're all eating our own dinner, play
Wow.
a game over Zoom.
So you eat dinner with your family over Zoom.
Sometimes, like once a
That
week.
is awesome. That's clever. I like
Yeah.
that. I might do that with my mom. I think she would. Actually, my mom would not be able to figure out Zoom. So that's
I
a
think my
that's a
parents will want
problem.
to.
That's a problem. And how about athlete engagement? Now, I talk to coaches every day, okay, and they tend to ask me the same questions, right? So, what are you doing keeping your athletes engaged over the next 3 or 4 or 5 months? Because this will go away. We will eventually get back on the water. And I want to get another question that you're going to have to answer is, what do you do about the kid who's brand new to rowing 3 months ago, right?
Yeah.
How do you get a kid, boy or girl, who's not been on the water yet, who hasn't had that exhilaration, that fun? How do you keep them engaged right now as the program head coach?
Yeah, that's definitely difficult. So we have a team group me where kids are actively talking to each other. I have a daily workout plan for them every day, and they post their scores. So they'll post screenshots of their ergs if they have an erg, post what they ran. And that's been really helpful, motivating each other. I also give them a daily challenge each day. Like yesterday's daily challenge was get 8 hours of sleep,
Wow,
things like that. And then
I like that.
we actually had 22 new rowers join us over the winter that have never been in the water. And they've actually been some of the most dedicated through this time. I think just really forming that team bonding experience and the cohesiveness and making
Hmm.
sure to encourage that has been really important.
So I'm going to ask you a selfish question. You are part of the virtual Rowers Choice Erg Mania.
Yeah.
How has how have the kids taken to that? How have you taken to that? Has that been a fun experience in the last couple of days?
Yes, very. So we have 4 teams in it, 3 girls and 1 boy team, and that's been really exciting. At first, there was a little bit of kind of hesitance from some people, not sure if they wanted to, and then finally I just said, all boys under 705 and girls under 810, you're doing this competition. So I kind of enforced it, and it's been going really well. I mean, our top girls team is ranked 4th in the Midwest right now. It's pretty
Yeah.
exciting. So
Now, let's talk about. Can we talk about the athlete that won the Golden Hammer? I mean, it's unreal.
yeah,
Um, So tell me about this athlete, how she came to be part of the program. How is she enjoying rowing? Because she's new, right? I mean, she's
Yeah.
brand new. Talk to me about her.
Yeah, so Paris, so she was a basketball player just like me. Is kind of getting a little tired of it, wanted to try something new, so came out for rowing in the fall as a freshman.
Wow.
Was instantly just on the erg, was unreal. I mean, our novice girls this fall were so good. They won gold at a few regattas. They're just so strong. And Paris, her first 2K was a 7:43 as a freshman in high school.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, she's now at a 7:00.4.
Wow.
And she's just an incredible athlete and person. Such a hard worker. Cares about her teammates, uses them as motivation, always is the first thing she does after pieces is kind of see how other people do and congratulate them. I mean, for the March Mania, that top team I have is actually 3 freshmen and a senior.
I'm going to talk about that. Watch out. Like,
yeah.
We're going to do this every year. So next year, I mean, they would be clear favorites in this competition if they stick that out. So all right. So someone very much involved in Rower's Choice, his name is Mike Wallen, and he's the program director of Chicago Rowing Foundation. He was a basketball player. Okay. He was a standout basketball player in Philadelphia. He also was bigger and stronger than pretty much everybody in the team. And he had a really hard time adapting to rowing. Like, he talks about this all the time. We have a podcast that we'll be launching soon. And this goes really well to growing the sport. This girl, Paris, is a clear athlete. She's stronger than, and probably a better athlete than any person on your program, if not, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's just a standout performer. How do you get someone like her engaged in rowing? Like, what have you done with her and the other athletes? Can you explain that or talk about that, what you've done to help cultivate that?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of incredible athletes from different sports. We have an 8th grade boy who's a track star and is now one of our fastest boys in our program. We have just so many incredible kids in general. I wish I could just name them all off for you. But the thing is, once I really thrive on positive reinforcement for these kids. And I think that's been a really good technique to help them love rowing. And when they do something good and you acknowledge it and praise them and just to them and in front of the team, it really motivates them to keep going. And I think that's been really big.
So that's good advice for other coaches, right? To regardless, like, they don't have to be pulling a 7-minute, but if they do something fun or good, you should acknowledge them and get them going, right?
I mean, we have a 7th grade girl who just started this winter. Her first 2K was like a 9:40, and her second 2K was a 9-minute, and that was awesome. You know,
wow.
You improved it by 10 split seconds. So calling that out to everyone, it doesn't matter where you are. It's you against yourself for your times of your splits.
That's wow. So I don't think. It's funny because, like, rowing coaches tend to be rowing coaches for life, right? They've been in the sport forever. And I'll say, like, if I saw a 9-minute, I wouldn't get excited because I know that that's just not good enough, right? But you see it a little bit differently, right? You see that as a big success, and your vision is, if you improve, get them excited and going, right? So that's really cool. I want to transition. It's the same sort of series of questions here. It's our goal at Rower's Choice is to get people that are non-rowers excited about the sport. So to get parents of kids excited, to get friends excited, to bring it into the limelight. Now, you are a former basketball player. You've been at the high level where people come and watch you perform. Any advice on what we do to try to get our sport to not be such a nerdy sport? I mean, what do you any ideas, any thoughts on how to do it?
It's definitely difficult, especially being in the Midwest. It's not really as well known. I mean, being from Boston, rowing is pretty, head of the Charles. Everyone knows what rowing is. So we've just been really focusing on marketing. I mean, I've been putting up flyers at, like, before COVID, obviously, all of the local coffee shops, have yard signs out, being active.
Grassroots. I mean, that's grassroots stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Grassroots marketing. But How do you think the powerful tool of social media can be used, and what do you think we could use for that? And what I'm trying to get an understanding of, how do we get people that are not rowers to watch what we're doing, to come to the regattas, to cheer on other athletes. Like when the NCAA tournament comes, I don't know these kids, but I'm like I can't stop watching and get excited. How do we do that for our sport?
Yeah, that's definitely difficult. Honestly, I think the Olympics really helps. Unfortunately, it won't be till next year, but it always seems that after the Olympics, rowing kind of surges a little bit. Just showing. I mean, we have call-out meetings for interested or potential new rowers. I've been going to schools, doing them, and I show this little clip, like a 5-minute clip of the women's 8 in the 2012 Olympics, and it's just really.
I just got chills. I remember that race. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope.
Another thing I've been doing is actually going to local middle schools, and elementary schools, to their PE classes.
Yeah.
It's been PE teachers have been really awesome about that, bringing in kind of showing kids what it's all about. Getting them just so they can know what it is.
How about promoting kids and getting them excited on social media? I mean, do you think that works as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we try to be pretty active on our social media. I always encourage the kids to share our posts, put them on their Instagram stories, so other kids see.
And do they like that? I mean, do they dive into that? Do they enjoy doing that?
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of them they're all very active on social media. So, I don't know, TikToks. They do TikToks. I don't really know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either.
CJ laughs at me. I'm not computer illiterate. Like, I know how to use a computer and my phone and everything, and it took me like 3 minutes to figure out how to use this microphone on a computer. So, but like TikTok, like that stuff's funny to me. Like, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I think she's more savvy than I am sometimes. So, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen for the next 4 or 5 months? What's your prediction for rowing, and what is happening with COVID-19, given your experience with COVID-19?
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's kind of different state by state. I think Indiana, we're supposed to hit our peak in the next week or two, which is pretty similar across the country. In New York, I'll be a little bit earlier. I know right now one of our regattas has been canceled. Well, 2 of them have been canceled. Midwest is working on rescheduling it to June, late June, which I'm optimistic, but not too optimistic that'll happen. I really hope so. I think the big thing is like our summer programs. Like, I have had a few kids I got a girl who's gotten to Ready Set Row, Penn AC Gold. And so I'm really hoping that these programs happen for them, but I mean, the Olympics being canceled, it's not. Yeah,
it's not good. I don't think so. So I've interviewed several women in our sport, and you're a bit of a unique one, having not been rowing your entire life. You didn't row in high school. In some cases, we talked to people that rowed when they were in 7th and 8th grade. First question is, like, do you want to make coaching your career, or do you just really enjoy being the director at IU Health? I mean, now that you're loving it, right? You're really engaged, you do it. Do you see yourself being a professional coach, or do you want to stay in the other sector?
I see myself staying in healthcare. My passion has always been, I want to make the world a better place. I want to do good. I really enjoy that. I thrive at work, and just have like a lot of lofty goals for myself career-wise. That being said, coaching has been incredible, and I would not mind I definitely want to continue coaching. See what happens in terms of what coaching I get into, but honestly, high school is like my passion. I think these kids are they're still growing, maturing. I had a coach in high school who I still am in touch with, who's really influenced my life. And I think that's what I want to do for these kids. I want to be able to be there for them during this tough stage. And being a teenager is hard,
Yes,
it sucks sometimes. And so being there for them and helping them reach their next goals of rowing in college, or not rowing college, but just getting into a good school, doing whatever they want to do.
So in rowing, we have a very small, it's a very small world. I think you know that, it's obvious.
Mhm.
When high school coaches specifically start to show major success, like if you have a big program, if you grow your program as the director, if you start winning races, you become well known. And there's a good chance that if you continue your trend, that there will be a lot of opportunities for you coming out there, a lot of opportunities to coach at other high school programs, at club programs, even at the college level. But what you're saying is that you want to influence these kids, these athletes, but you really just love being somewhere else. Like you love having your career, right?
Yeah, I do. I do. I love having my career. And right now I just kind of, it's funny because career-wise, I really focus on like the next step and where I can go. And then coaching-wise, like I want to focus on the kids I have now and be there for them and give all my energy to them rather than kind of thinking about where I'd want to go next.
I really appreciate that, but you're young enough, and CJ and everybody else here at Rower's Choice will tell you, it's going to get really hard being a professional and then coaching as well. Like you are going to get tired. So enjoy the moment right now as much as you possibly can, because it's going to get very challenging. Do you have a lot of relationships with the parents of the program as well? Like how do you spend your day communicating to these athletes and these coaches? Now forget about COVID-19. Like if you had to go to your day job every day, how do you balance all of that work?
Yeah, the parents are awesome. I have a booster group who I work with constantly of the parents. I'm on texting terms with a lot of the parents. Whenever they email me, text me any questions, I really like that. I like when seeing parents engaged. Like my goal is to get to know like the name of every single parent.
Yeah.
Obviously not having spring regattas is going to put a little damper in that, but that's what I want to be able to go to a regatta and be like, hey,
Yeah. So I got to tell you, when I was coaching, I coached for a while. When I coached at Bishop O'Connell in Virginia, it was actually unbelievable. I became best friends with these parents. I would go out to dinners with them. They became my family. I mean, they still send presents to my children. It's crazy. So that is a really good piece of advice for other coaches too, especially if you're trying to make this a career. Get involved with the parents and the boosters, because they're the ones that are helping fund and drive the program. That's really good advice for future coaches. Now, so what I do in this, I take notes, right? And I try to, and I figure out where to send this podcast and this video. And there are nuggets here that I've written up and circled that I really hope other coaches that watch or listen to this can learn from you. This is incredible. I love that you said you surrendered individual pride to rowing. I love that you talk about the grassroots of getting rowing excited again. I mean, putting stakes in the ground and saying, come row over here. I mean, that's fun. And that's a different perspective I think a lot of coaches have. So is there a prediction? I'm going to close with this. Is there a prediction for your team, your top team at the NCAA, not the NCAA. I gotta rephrase this better. In our virtual Erg Mania competition, do you have a prediction for your athletes?
Yeah, they're gonna go all the way. I mean, my top team, like I can tell you, those three freshmen are all in it for our senior Avery Thorpe. She's rowing at Indiana University next year. Amazing. Wow. Spring season's gotten taken away. They are rowing for her.
I just got chills. Oh, I love this. So you got a bunch of freshmen who, in some cases, barely been on the water, right? Yeah. And they're just pulling their butts off for a freshman that's going to Indiana U. Have they done the 4,800 meter piece yet? Have they done that cycle?
Not all of them. Some of them have started it.
I can't wait. Becca, this has been a lot of fun. You are the first one to do our Zoom interview. I can't thank you enough. And I'm going to close it. This is Alex Del Sordo, again, with another Rower's Choice podcast with a video interview. And we're going to be doing these over the course of the next couple of weeks. And if you are a coach, part of the virtual Erg Mania, and you want to get interviewed, please contact CJ or myself to set this up. Becca, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.